Talking with the experts.
And so what we do at our company is we help people limit the intimidation factor, make the intimidation factor smaller. We just onboarded a new client. She started a show called The Imperfect Person, and she's an unbelievably successful family therapist, marriage and family counselor. Dear friend of ours speaking at our next event. But basically, she just started a show and she was so overwhelmed. All she had was an iPad. She didn't have a microphone. She didn't have anything like that. So for anyone out there listening, basically what you try to do is limit the intimidation factor so that you can get started. And then once you gain some momentum, then focus on improving the show over time. We have this one transformation photo of our show. We used to be called the Hyperconscious Podcast. Now we're Next Level University. And Kevin, when we crossed 600 episodes, he made this transformation photo. It's broken into thirds, and I absolutely adore it. And I show my clients this all the time.
Talking with the experts.
Hello and welcome to Talking with the Experts. Talking with the Experts is about all things business by business owners for business owners. And you can find it on all good podcasting streaming platforms and on YouTube. And welcome, my name is Rose Davidson from rosedavidson.com. And my guest today is Alan Lazaros, and we're going to be talking business, as you would guess, as a business podcast. And his business name is called Next Level University. And Alan is the founder and the host of Next Level University. It's a global top 100 self-improvement podcast with more than 750 episodes, reaching over 500,000 people in more than 100 countries. Wow, that beats me hands down doing anything that I'm doing. Well, congratulations. They're really great stats. Welcome, Alan, and thanks for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. As I mentioned in the little preamble I adore business. I'm leaning into that very much in my coaching. So I'm super, super excited that this is a business podcast. I go on a lot of podcasts, but not a lot of business podcasts. So this is going to be awesome.
Terrific. And so you've helped your clients improve their revenue through the systems that you've designed. Could you just run us through what kind of systems that you help your clients with?
So the to me, I see on our team, so we have a 13-person team. So yes, we're a podcast, but we have a bunch of different departments within our business. So we have something called Next Level Podcast Solutions. We have something called Next Level Business Solutions, which is my department. We have something called Next Level Social Media. We have something called Next Level Web Solutions. So we have a website person. So basically, and we have our own production team that does our episodes. So we just surpassed 800, but also the episodes for our clients. So we have 15 plus podcasts that we produce and over 1,000 episodes across all of them that all you do is show up to the mic and you basically put it up on G Drive, video and audio, and it all gets done for you. You don't have to touch anything, YouTube, all the platforms and all that. But your original question was about systems. So basically the way I think about leading our team is through leadership, number one, systems, number two, and then culture, number three. Basically, we have what's called an NLU team dashboard. And it's actually right now, it's in Google Sheets. We're actually in the process of creating our own sort of custom, if you've heard of Monday.com or Slack or, Salesforce CRM systems. So we're actually getting into the space now of human optimization, team optimization, business optimization. But right now we're doing it all through cloud-based Google Sheets. And we have our own dashboards in there. We have something called peak performance tracking. Peak performance tracking, it's so cool because I have these little notebooks behind me of 7 years ago. After my car accident, when I was at 26, I got in a tough car accident and I reevaluated my life. And I started tracking my habits in these little notebooks. I got like a bunch of them back here. And back then I had no idea that this would end up being like a thing. And so now we've got a 13-person team. Every single person tracks their habits every single day. It's called a daily dozen. So you have 4 habits under health, 4 habits under wealth, 4 habits under love. And then you have one KPI, one key performance indicator. This is like the one thing that if you track this one thing, everything else will proliferate. So for example, Kevin, his one thing to track is listens. Okay. So peak performance tracking is something that allows us all to make sure that everybody is in their genius zone. everybody is consistent so that we gain momentum and everyone's rowing in the same direction based on the goals of the business, but also based on the goals of the individuals within the company. And so that's kind of I just had one of my AirPods go out. Speaking of a system failure, but anyways, so basically that's one of the systems that is focused on the individual. And then that rolls up into the whole team, which is the team dashboard. And then we also have our own sort of CRM system in the back end as well that all of that works with. Let me just put these AirPods away.
That sounds absolutely amazing, Alan. It's a really great system that you've got with your business. It's something that maybe I might look into. It sounds really amazing, and can really benefit when you know what your KPIs and where your business is heading towards. Because I'm moving into podcast production next year, and so yes, that would be really handy for me to use that for myself. So yeah, there we go. I learned something again today. That's why I love this podcast so much, because I learn so much from my guests. And, it can be a little thing, can be a big thing, but yeah, that's really wonderful. And so when your clients, when you're doing your podcast production, what sort of questions do your clients ask you about, how to get started and all that? And so how do you actually help them to get to a level where they're actually getting listens?
So, Kevin actually runs Next Level Podcast Solutions. So he does podcast coaching and consulting. I do business coaching and consulting. So I actually don't, well, that's not true entirely, because there's some crossover. So Next Level Business Solutions, I'm focused on growing and scaling their businesses. Some podcasters have a business. Some business owners want to start a podcast, and they feed each other. And so we have one client in particular, I'll just keep it anonymous. She is a dentist and orthodontist who owns her own practice in Maine, and she's extremely, extremely successful, like unbelievably successful. Started a podcast. It's called The Business of Happiness. Unbelievable show. I think she's like just crossed, maybe 100 episodes, maybe 60 plus, I think. But anyways, to answer your original question, at the beginning, starting a podcast feels a little bit like climbing a mountain. It's overwhelming. People don't know what microphone to get. They don't know what platform to use, StreamYard or Zoom or Microsoft Teams or Google Hangouts or, Anchor. They don't know what platform to use. Do you use, SoundCloud or Buzzsprout? Or it's just really overwhelming. And then it's like, well, I need my artwork to be perfect. And so it's just like any new endeavor. It's just like a fitness journey. You start out and it's like, okay, just go to the gym. And so what we do at our company is we help people limit the intimidation factor, make the intimidation factor smaller. We just onboarded a new client. She started a show called The Imperfect Person, and she's an unbelievably successful family therapist, marriage and family counselor. Dear friend of ours, speaking at our next event. But basically, she just started a show and she was so overwhelmed. All she had was an iPad. She didn't have a microphone. She didn't have anything like that. So for anyone out there listening, basically what you try to do is limit the intimidation factor so that you can get started. And then once you gain some momentum, then focus on improving the show over time. We have this one transformation photo of our show. We used to be called the Hyperconscious Podcast. Now we're Next Level University. And Kevin, when we crossed 600 episodes, he made this transformation photo. It's broken into thirds, and I absolutely adore it. And I show my clients this all the time. 100 episodes in, we're literally in my sister's old bedroom with a black backdrop, terrible backdrop. And there's actually a little skeleton in between us because she was an X-ray tech, and it was our mascot. And he had a little hyperconscious muscle shirt on. And it's two kids with a big dream back then, right? Then you have 300 episodes, and it shows me in my mother's basement. And the studio did get a little better. We had a TV behind us with the logo up. We had, a better camera, much better camera, blah, blah, blah. Then eventually we got a studio. So 600 episodes in, it shows like we're very dressed up. The studio is unbelievable. We have our lights in the background that are glowing. We've got a TV in the background. We've got pictures of us and our beautiful girlfriends in the background. We've got books and shelves, and it's just so clearly a professional studio. But here's the thing, 600 episodes later. So here's what I did. I took $100 and I put it in a financial calculator because I wanted to calculate if we improved by 1% per episode for 1,000 episodes, how much money would we have? If you put $100 into a financial calculator and you grow it by 1% per day for 1,000 days, which is 2.6 years, you end up with over $2 million, which means that you're 20,000 times better. If you can improve by 1% per episode for 1,000 episodes, you're 20,000 times better. Something as simple as saying a little bit less. I remember we used to have an jar where I used to have to put $1 in the jar every time I said So if anyone out there right now is listening, here's what I would say. Start small, make incremental improvements over time. Just like me alone with those little tiny notebooks tracking my habits, I had no idea that I'd have 20 clients and 40 group coaching clients and 13 team members all tracking their habits and their finances, just like I once did. I didn't know back then. I just let it evolve and I stayed consistent. And I think that I focused on improving by 0.1% or 1% every single day, whichever one is less daunting to you. And the compound effect, my favorite book of all time is right behind me, The Compound Effect. There's a reason Einstein called it the eighth wonder of the world. So it's not sexy. It's not a fun answer. One workout isn't really going to do anything. One workout every day for 6 years will transform your entire life. And so that's really what I'm about.
Yeah, well, that I would love to be in the top 100 podcasts in Australia. So yeah, well done. So I guess if having a podcast, how can it improve your business? If you do the business side of it, you must obviously help people who've got podcasts improve their business. So how can they go about doing that?
I think what we've found, and this is kind of fascinating, most podcasts don't make a lot of money. So there's 2.66 million podcasts. That's probably more like 3 million now, because the last time we looked at that stat was a while ago. Of those 3 million podcasts, very, very few of them are profitable. Like very, very few. As a matter of fact, something crazy like 60% of them don't even exist within 25 episodes. So they don't even make it past 25 episodes. So it's just like New Year's Eve. Everyone's like, tomorrow I'm going to go to the gym. And then within a month, most people aren't really working out still. Podcasting is kind of the same. So that's the first thing to understand, is that it seems like a saturated market. It's actually not, if you can be consistent and do it for the long run. Okay. Which is why the most successful podcasters, like one of my mentors, David Meltzer or Tom Bilyeu or Joe Rogan, they do so well because the listeners can count on it. The listeners know that Joe Rogan's going to post an episode every single day. He's been doing it for 14 years, right? So the momentum is there. But to answer your original question, I think that a lot of podcasters think they're going to make money through advertising, which I personally think is a mistake. I think what's more important is to use it as a way to connect with your community. So for us, Next Level University, we want to put self-improvement in your pocket every single day, 365 days a year. So we do an episode a day. You brush your teeth every day. There's no reason why you can't improve by 1% every day. Okay. So NLU will be in your pocket every day. Now, anyone who's into self-improvement and also wants to start a business, I have business consulting. Anyone who is into self-improvement and wants to start their own podcast, we have a podcast agency. Anyone who wants to start a business or a podcast and also needs a website, AKA everyone, we have that too. Anyone who needs to be on social media consistently but can't stand falling down the rabbit hole every single day because it's obnoxious, but they still want to produce content and connect with their audience, they can come to us, Next Level Social Media. And then we have Next Level VAs as well, which is a way to basically, my assistant, Amy, she coaches other VAs on some of the systems and dynamics that we work together with. So to answer your original question, if you're starting a podcast, you have to think a little bit deeper than just advertising. You have to play the long game because most people don't. You have to be as consistent as possible. You have to have quality, valuable content, and you have to connect consistently with your community and find a way to meet their needs. So for example, our listeners are a little different than yours. So our listeners are primarily women in their 20s, 30s, and 40s who struggle with courage, clarity, and confidence, who want more fulfillment out of their intimate relationships and especially out of their careers. They're typically entrepreneurial minded and they're unhappy in their current work. That's very specific. So I have a bunch of clients that I didn't always, at the beginning I didn't, right? As a matter of fact, I started as a fitness coach, then I was a mindset coach, then I was a peak performance coach, and now I'm a business coach. And now I have clients all over the world with their own businesses, but that's been an evolution over time. At the very beginning, Kevin and I were like, hey, how do we coach people on mindset for $50 a week? Which sounds really, really low, but that's where we started. And now here we are coaching multimillionaires all over the world. It's unbelievable. You got to start small, stay consistent, and improve over time. And so now I have 20 plus clients that I get to coach from all different industries, all different walks of life. And now 5 years in, I'm getting referrals regularly when it used to be like pulling teeth to try to get one client because no one knows me. I'm brand new, right? So remember, everyone out there, if you want to start a podcast and you want to be successful, you got to be consistent. Your content has to be high quality. You have to improve by 1% every single episode and allow the long game to build momentum and then build a business underneath that community. If you already have a business, use your podcast to add value to your existing customer base.
Yeah, I guess that's really great advice, actually. And it was like really simple to understand for a lot of us. When we get talking to business coaches, they make it all sound really confusing and quite hard. So that was a really great explanation. Thank you for doing that. I guess what is the ways that you can help a business to improve if they come to you with an issue, say maybe staff retention or like they're not making enough money, but they know that they could do better. So what areas can you help a client with in that area?
Yeah, so we have something called the 10 next level marketing Ps. And basically it's, you have to find the right person with the right pain point, which is the right problem. You have to have the right price, the right position. You have to have the right promotion. You have to have the right promise, like we guarantee XYZ. So it's called a marketing wheel. And I have a digital asset that I send to people. But basically, it's like if your P's aren't in line, you won't be able to snowball. So I picture a snowball rolling down a hill. And it's like you want to find the right snowball and roll it down a really long hill. That's a Warren Buffett quote. But basically, what most people have is a wheel with broken spokes. So I'll give a simple example, right? Okay, there's a big difference between a Lamborghini and a Toyota. Okay, there's a reason Lamborghinis don't market on television because people watching television typically cannot afford a Lamborghini. Okay, because anyone who can afford a Lamborghini probably isn't watching a whole lot of TV. Okay, it is what it is. So that is a good example of positioning. Elon Musk, for example, he doesn't even market because that's his marketing. He's the only business in the world. It's like, we're not going to spend any money on marketing. We're just going to innovate our product, which, by the way, everyone talks about, which is his marketing. And so it's very important to understand that if you're not succeeding, you probably have broken spokes in your wheel, and you probably don't understand who is the exact person that I need to be serving. What's the exact way I need to be serving them? Do they have the money? That's why we charged so little early on, not because we weren't valuable, but because we knew that our clients struggled with money. Our listeners very much struggle with money. As we've grown, we've attracted more affluent people. Now we can charge more. And we've also proven ourselves and we've developed our skills and all of that too. So a simple example, I remember I heard this story. There was a Girl Scout who broke the record for selling the most Girl Scout cookies in California. Have you heard this story? Yeah. And all she did differently was she went outside of the weed dispensaries to sell her cookies. So I think that that's a tangible example that people can hold on to of like, do I have the right problem that I'm solving? Do I have the right product that actually solves that problem? Is it at the right price point? Am I promoting it in the right way? What is the real promise? And as long as your P's are in line, and it's hard to memorize all 10 of them, but basically it's a wheel with all 10 of them. And once you get those things dialed in, I'm telling you, you'll see the momentum start to happen. For my coaching, like I said, now I have people reaching out to me all the time. It's because I finally got the right price point. For the longest time, I had the wrong price point. And now my coaching is really starting to roll. And again, we're promoting it on our podcast too. So the promotion's right as well, for the right person, solving the right problem in the right way. The main problem that I solve in my coaching is people are so inconsistent. That's the real, I have accountability and consistency, and I have a specific system that all my clients are on. They finally start to be holistically consistent. I want to have more people being consistent than anyone in history. And I'm going to do it through human optimization, team optimization, and business optimization. And it's going to be tools that are so simple, you can't miss them. They're designed for simplicity, because all these project management tools, they're so complex.
Yes, they are. And if a lot of people don't understand about the P's of marketing, let alone the P's of anything else. So it's good that they can go to somebody who can explain it to them in like layman's terms, rather than some hyped up marketing jargon that no one can understand. So yeah, that's really great. Alan, where can people take advantage of this wheel that you have?
Alan at nextleveluniverse.com. Anyone can email me. And between my assistant and I, we get back to everyone. Just say, hey, I would love to see the 10 P's of next level marketing. Alan at nextleveluniverse.com. So not university, universe.com. And you can email me anytime, and we'll literally send you it totally free. Just
wonderful. I'll be sending you an email directly as soon as we finish. Yeah.
Please do. Please do.
And so with all this knowledge that you have you written a book?
I'm writing a book right now. I'm glad you asked. It's called Optimizing for Fulfillment. The beginning of the book is called Dear Reader. This book, if you don't want to maximize your potential, put this down right now. And that's basically, this is a serious book for serious people who want to make serious change in the world. I'm an intense guy. I realize this now in hindsight. I'm here to maximize my potential and to help others do the same. And if it's not in that category, I just am not interested. If we were talking about the weather right now, I just wouldn't care. So I know myself now. I'm 33 years old, even though I look 12. I'm hoping 34 I'll hit puberty. But basically, that's what my book is on. It's like, listen, fulfillment comes when you're maximizing your own unique potential and your own greatest level of contribution. And for the first 26 years of my life, that is not what I was doing. I was chasing achievements, and I was super successful, and I was an engineer, and I had my MBA, and I made hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, and I had a beautiful girlfriend and tons of corporate friends and college friends and high school friends. And I got in a car accident when I was 26, and my father passed away in a car accident when he was 28. And so for me, that absolutely rattled me. I've seen the pictures of his car, and I saw the pictures of mine, and they didn't look very different. And so for a lot of people, it was like, if you haven't had a death of a loved one, it's like, for me, that was my like, whoa. My little cousin was in the car, and we were fortunately physically okay. But emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, I was so rattled because I heard stories about my dad my whole life. And like, he was tweeting about it. He was, 17, and he had that sort of young invincibility thing. But for me, I was like, that literally could have been it. And like, would I have been proud of the way that I lived? And so this book is about how to design a life where you're optimizing for fulfillment, not for pleasure. Most of us are chasing pleasure at the expense of fulfillment. And I want to flip that script, because when I was growing up, I grew up in a really small town, and everybody told me these are the best years of your life when I was in high school. And I was like, God, I hope not. Right. High school was tough for me. I did really well, but it was just bullying and blah, blah, blah. So basically, that's my book, Optimizing for Fulfillment. But business is supposed to be fulfilling. I have the most fulfilling life. I mean, it's hard. It's super challenging, but it's also deeply meaningful and super fulfilling, because I feel like I'm living in my calling. And so fulfillment is the soul's recognition of alignment with its highest calling. And everyone can be fulfilled, and everyone knows when they have fulfillment. And I think that the opposite of fulfillment is regret. But basically, that's my book, and it's coming out in 2022. I'm currently writing it, and I'm super excited.
Well, so am I. I would love to get one of the first copies when it comes out. It sounds
I will make
like
sure.
a really amazing book.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a new list
Yep.
in our prospecting spreadsheet, and it's going to be optimizing for fulfillment will be the subtitle, and I'll put you on that list because you're the first person who said I want one of the first copies. So
I do. It has to be signed.
It has to be signed.
You're going to be famous now. Terrific. Trust me, you will be. That's a really great book. I've got goosebumps, so I know it's going to come true.
You're very sweet, Rose. Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Okay, so where can people find you if they want to work with you, Alan?
The same email address, alan@nextleveluniverse.com. But I'm also on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. Those are really the main three that I use. Or you can find Next Level University on any podcast platform. We're also on YouTube. And if you look us up, you can Google my name, or you can look up Next Level University. We'll come up. In the show notes of every single episode is my contact information. So check us out. 800 episodes. You brush your teeth every day. You can have self-improvement in your pocket every single day from anywhere on the planet, completely free. That's like our mission statement. Growing up, I was very, very fortunate to get financial aid and to get scholarships. When my stepdad left when I was 14, we went from like literally customizing our own family yacht to literally I get free lunch at school because he was the income. So that was very character building. But if it wasn't for financial aid and scholarships, I went to one of the best tech schools on the planet. It's called Worcester Polytechnic Institute. It's like a mini MIT. And there's no way I could have gotten that amazing education if it wasn't for the financial aid and the equal opportunity, and the scholarships. And so what I want to do is put self-improvement in the pocket of anyone who wants to really work and really put in the work. Like the resource is there, and that's why it's so near and dear to my heart. So reach out.
So admirable, Alan. It is really admirable. It's a great thing that you're doing.
Rose, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You've been very, very kind to me. I appreciate it.
So any last words, Alan, before we go today?
I remember one time on a podcast, someone asked me, what does it mean to be next level? And the only answer I could give, and anyone who studies anything that I do, you'll know that, put it this way, the people closest to you are the ones who can attest to this. What it means to be next level is who are you and what are you doing when no one is watching? And to me, I just got off of a workout. As a matter of fact, I was in workout clothes and I'm still sweaty. I like changed real quick and I came up here. But like, I genuinely care more about my effort alone in the gym than I do even on this show. And that's nothing against you. I care more about whether or not my girlfriend is fulfilled in our relationship than I do all the shiny stuff. At 26, I had all the shiny stuff. 6-figure salary, almost 200,000, tons of friends and parties. And I achieved so many of my dreams. I had my master's in business and I had, a computer engineering degree from one of the best tech schools on the planet. And that was my dream. But all of it was empty when I had that near-death experience. And I realized that that was not the goal. The goal is to maximize your own unique potential and your own unique greatest level of contribution. And while my life now is far more challenging and quite frankly has a lot less pleasure than it used to, it's way more deeply meaningful and it's way more fulfilling. And I'm grateful that I had my midlife crisis at 26. And so that's what I would say to everyone out there listening is if you're not fulfilled, the only wrong answer is to sit back and stay the same. You can make new choices starting right now. And why else would you be listening to a podcast like this? So that's the message I would leave everyone with. What you say, think, do, feel, and believe is a choice, and you can make new choices. And by the way, what you don't say, don't do, don't think, and don't feel is also a choice. And so sometimes what you don't do is more important than what you do. So just make new positive choices. Your life will only improve when you do.
You're a man after my own heart.
I appreciate you, Rose. You're very, very sweet to me.
Oh, Alan, thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you and learning about systems. I was quite surprised, but about how you do your systems and the P wheel. I'm going to go and get one. I am.
Rose, if you ever need anything, please reach out. Seriously, I appreciate you having me. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Alan. Have a great day.
You as well.
Talking with the experts.